Just some quick notes up front about why the name the FilePro Survivor series. Why a survivor? Very simple. That's what FilePro is. Over the past 35 years, since the dawn of the personal computing age back in the late 70s, FilePro has survived. Not many other companies, not many other programs have, not many other applications have. There was a time when FilePro was first created by many clever minds that it was up against some staggering competition. Competition in applications written by very large corporations, most of which are no longer around. They didn't make it. They couldn't withstand the many vicissitudes of an industry that changes day by day. If you don't keep up, you don't make it in the personal computer industry. If you don't have a product that can pull its weight and do the job and do it well, you don't survive. FilePro is a survivor, and many times you'll feel as a FilePro user that there isn't much respect for the FilePro application. It doesn't seem to be a mainstream application. There aren't many people using it right around you. Every time you mention the name FilePro, people say, "What's FilePro?" But there are thousands and dozens of thousands and possibly even hundreds of thousands of users of this absolutely fantastic package. It's sometimes termed a legacy program because it has such longevity. It has such age to it. But with all that age and longevity has come a solid basis for building just one of the best packages you can use to run your companies, to run your personal lives, to run your businesses. I'm the narrator for this new set of Survivor Series tutorials, an accounting package. I worked for a company that did nothing but create and support FilePro programs for roughly 25 years. I've since retired and was recently contacted by FP Technologies to see if we could amalgamate some of the previous work I've done on tutorials such as this and modernize them and update them and make them available again. This set of tutorials bases itself on the 5.0 FilePro engine. FilePro started back in the late 70s, probably 1978. It started as a slightly different name. It was called Profile, and it was marketed largely through Tandy Radio Shack when personal computers were little gray boxes and no one knew what they were. Computers previously had been giant machines with thousands and thousands of tubes up in crazy places with lots of scientists wearing white coats, and you couldn't ever touch a computer. They were just so esoteric. In the 60s, they started to become available to educational universities and to larger corporations. But by the 70s and the late 70s, the concept of providing computers for individuals to actually use and place their hands on and use their own brains to create programs and applications became prevalent, and by the late 70s, FilePro was released. It had the name Profile, as I said, and that became owned by Tandy Radio Shack, so when the FilePro creators started to release the product on their own, they merely flipped the name around from Profile to FilePro. Why did they do that? Just to survive and to keep roughly the same product association and to move on. They adapted. This was back in the 1980s, early 1980s. As FilePro grew, it spent many years just listening to its users, listening to its user base and people who bought the product, telling them, I need this, we need that, it must do this, I can't use it if it doesn't do this, you have to add this feature, and by the way, I need it tomorrow, and such like that. If FilePro and its creators and its movers and shakers had not been able to adapt and survive, this product would be long gone. It was able to survive, and it did survive, and that's why you're using it today, and that's why you'll be listening to a very well done tutorial on how to gain more use out of the product than you may have ever had before. These tutorials, as I say, are based on the 5.0 version. After approximately 20 years of functioning, probably around 2000, FilePro released the 5.0 version. Up until that time, it was simply I wouldn't call it it was certainly not a beta program, but it was not a completely, fully functioning application with all the bells and whistles one would need, and something that could stand up in the larger world of mainstream databases. When the 5.0 version came out, it surely was. The engine that ran the indexes was completely revolutionized, and to this day, the FilePro indexes are among the fastest around. You can retrieve a record, though there be millions of records in your database, you can retrieve that record in the blink of an eye with a FilePro index. It easily competes on any level with any other database. There are functions and features in FilePro, such as associated fields, that are still nowhere to be found in any of the other products that are available, and there are no products in the FilePro arena really that can touch it on rapid application development. You start on a project with FilePro, and because of its ease of use and incredible flexibility, you can have an application ready in days. Use another full-scale type application program like a database, a relational database. You'll be considering months and possibly even years to take a new idea and bring it to fruition. FilePro is a rapid application development tool, and it stands the test. It stands any test anyone will give it. I would like to tell you that all the tools that were available at 5.0 are all that you will need. And I can say that with some certainty. Everything you do need to program in FilePro is pretty much available at this 5.0 level, which we're teaching you now. FilePro has since moved on up to 5.7, a version 5.7, and in that version there are many new features, incredible new things that you need, that you should have, but they're not based on the primary programming tools that you're going to learn about in this manual, in this set of tutorials. There are more application features that are needed in today's industries, today's working industries. For example, there are features in the 5.7 version that will allow you to work with XML, for example. XML is fast becoming the standard way for organizations to transmit data back and forth. Even EDI, electronic data interchange, is handled mostly with XML these days. And if you have your database in a FilePro format, being able to easily transport it into and out of XML gives you the opportunity to instantly communicate business to business with anyone, even the largest corporations down to the smallest. XML was a necessity. FilePro provides it. Also, FilePro has recently come out in 5.7 level with a Unix MySQL integration. I have personally used this version to do absolutely amazing things. It essentially allows you to use that ubiquitous MySQL package that's out there all over the net. You can grab information from people, allow them to put their information into a database that may be out on the web somewhere using the limited tools of MySQL, but instantly have it also be connected to a FilePro program where you can use all the phenomenal tools you're going to learn about in this programming tutorial to manipulate that data and put it back out on the web into that MySQL format. It's very amazing, and it breathes new life into FilePro since it can now integrate with that program, with that other database language, ODBC, MySQL and ODBC, give it a whole new breadth of development. There would be no reason to not take advantage of the ODBC and MySQL. It does have many different front ends already available, and you at least can obtain data, but there's no mechanism in MySQL to manipulate that data in any way or do anything serious with it. You have to obtain something else, PHP or BASIC or Virtual Basic, some other tool to actually do anything that FilePro does hands down immediately with just its 5.0 version. The 5.7 version also has native PDF. Now that PDF has become the accepted industry standard for transmitting documents, portable document format, everyone's transmitting document PDFs attached in their emails and sending invoices out as PDFs and taking incoming orders and such as PDFs, and FilePro now has the ability to make an absolutely beautiful PDF directly from your data. No need to do anything but learn a few new commands and do that. And in the future, some of these tools will be provided on other tutorials by the FilePro people and FP Technologies, and being able to do these things at PDF and XML and Unix MySQL is staggering, and it's one of the reasons why FilePro continues to be a survivor. It's adding the things that you absolutely need to run your business. Finally, there's a new feature in the 5.7 version that allows you to secure your data with encryption. In the past, FilePro data has been placed on the media in essentially ASCII form, so that if you run into a techie employee or someone who has the ability to go poking around through the operating system, can actually look at some of the data, and it might be critical that he should not be, or she or she should not be allowed to do that. Well, by being able to encrypt your data before it's stored on the media, FilePro again stays current. This is a fantastic product, and by taking yourself up to the expert level, you will start at the beginning level. You will go through intermediate and advanced levels, and at the end of the advanced tutorial, you might as well consider yourself an expert programmer in FilePro. If you understand everything that's presented to you, and it really is not difficult to understand, just go over and over it. The movies can be played backwards and forwards. You can just stop them and start them as many times as you need. I recommend you play the movie on one computer and on one screen in your computer, and then on another screen actually try some of the things and go back and forth between them until you learn what's ever being taught. This system has worked very well for people in the past, and it's going to work very well for you. I will tell you that these tutorials have been structured to be top down. You can literally start at the first hyperlink on the first beginning tutorial CD and click from there to there to there, next in a row, and at no time will you be presented with a word that hasn't been fully explained or a concept that hasn't been fully talked about before it's used. In other words, you won't be jumped into some discussion of something that you have no understanding of. The process was difficult to make sure that each new idea is presented and then it's used. Each new concept is discussed and described and shown on the screen, and then it's put into an application. In the entire tutorial, a complete accounting system is developed from scratch with absolutely no knowledge of programming. You don't have to know anything about programming. You just need to slide these CDs into your PC and watch them in sequential order. And we hope you enjoy it. And if you're using the new Survivor Series accounting system, and we'll tell you that it is completely ready to go out of the box. Just slide the CD in and go through the tutorials on how to run it. At the end of the tutorials is an installation. It just shows you how to get the material onto your computer. And from that point, you can either run the accounting system as it is. You can run a general ledger that allows you to use checks and deposits from your company to handle all of its business. It also allows you to add several modules like accounts receivable, accounts payable, and payroll. All the modules are provided. Or programming code is given to you that will allow you to integrate your own modules to the main FilePro Survivor Series general ledger. You can use your own accounts payable, your own order inventory system, your own point of sale system, and post those transactions with the special programming given to you, the special code given to you. And it will all flow into the general ledger that will present you with balance sheets and income statements that are readily acceptable and approved by any accountant. The general ledger stands on all GAAP principles, generally accepted accounting principles, and it's an altogether fine program. If nothing else, you can use that accounting system as a building block or a template for your own design of something you need yourself to run whatever company or organization you're dealing with. It can be used right out of the box, or it can be modified. All these tutorials, all this new series of packages are provided so that FilePro will continue to be a survivor and help you to be a survivor in this very difficult world that we live in. Thanks for listening, and thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy what comes up next. And please feel free to contact us with any questions, comments, considerations, and criticisms. Thank you.